Hashtag Prince William's Newport visit. Part 1. The morning mist hung low over the Welsh countryside as Prince William's convoy made its way through the winding roads leading to Newport. The Black Range Rovers moved with practiced precision, their occupants preparing for what would become one of the most memorable royal visits to the industrial heartland of Wales in recent years. Inside the lead vehicle, the Prince of Wales reviewed his briefing notes one final time, his mind focused on the day ahead and the people he would soon meet. Newport had always held a special place in William's understanding of Wales. Unlike the tourist destinations of Snowdonia or the coastal beauty of Pembrokeshire, this was working Wales, a city built on industry, shaped by generations of families who had given their sweat and skill to keep Britain's economy moving. The Kenyan Light Alloys facility, known locally simply as KLA, represented everything that made these communities so vital to the nation's future. As the convoy turned onto the industrial estate, William could see the sprawling complex of the KLA site ahead. The facility stretched across several acres, its modern buildings a testament to British manufacturing excellence. Smokestacks rose into the morning sky, not as symbols of pollution, but as evidence of productive work happening within. The prince had specifically requested this visit after learning about KLA's innovative approaches to sustainable manufacturing and their commitment to training the next generation of skilled workers. Security personnel had arrived hours earlier, their careful preparations invisible to the casual observer, but thorough in every detail. The workforce at KLA had been buzzing with excitement for weeks since the announcement of the royal visit. Many had worked at the facility for decades, following the footsteps of fathers and grandfathers who had shaped metal and forged alloys that became part of aircraft, automobiles, and countless other products that defined modern life. Sarah Jenkins, the site manager, stood near the main entrance adjusting her safety helmet one more time. She had been with KLA for 15 years, rising through the ranks from apprentice to her current position. The responsibility of hosting a royal visit felt enormous, but she was determined to show Prince William exactly what made their facility special. Behind her, dozens of employees had gathered, many wearing their best work clothes, all eager for a glimpse of the future king. The convoy slowed as it approached the main gate, where a small crowd of local residents had gathered despite the early hour. Children waved Union Jacks while their parents held up phones to capture the moment. William could see their faces through the tinted windows, and he smiled, remembering similar scenes from countless visits throughout his years of royal duty. These moments of genuine public enthusiasm never failed to remind him why his role mattered. As his vehicle came to a stop, William could hear the distant sounds of the facility at work. The rhythmic hammering of machinery, the hiss of hydraulic systems, and the steady hum of production lines created an industrial symphony that spoke of purpose and productivity. This was not a ceremonial visit to a museum or a historic site. This was an engagement with living, breathing British industry. The car door opened, and Prince William emerged into the crisp Welsh morning air. He was dressed in a dark business suit appropriate for an industrial setting, with safety equipment already prepared for his tour of the production areas. The first person to greet him was David Matthews, the facility director, a man whose weathered hands and confident demeanor immediately conveyed decades of experience in manufacturing. "Your Royal Highness, welcome to Newport and to KLA," Matthews said with genuine warmth as they shook hands. "We're honored to have you here today, and our entire team is excited to show you what we do." William's response was characteristically gracious, but also showed his genuine interest in the work ahead. "Thank you, David. I've been looking forward to this visit for months. I've heard remarkable things about the innovation happening here and the skilled people who make it possible." As they walked toward the main building, William was struck by the pride evident in every employee's posture. These are people who took their work seriously, who understood that their efforts contributed to something larger than themselves. The facility's main lobby featured displays showcasing some of KLA's most significant projects, including components for renewable energy systems and lightweight alloys that helped make modern aircraft more fuel efficient. Sarah Jenkins joined them as they moved deeper into the facility, her nervousness gradually giving way to professional confidence as she began to explain the company's operations. Your Royal Highness, KLA has been part of this community for over 40 years. We employ nearly 800 people, many of them from families that have been with us for generations. What makes us special isn't just our technical capabilities, but our commitment to continuous learning and improvement. The first stop on their tour was the Apprenticeship Center, where young people were learning the ancient art of metalworking alongside cutting-edge computer-controlled manufacturing techniques. William had always been passionate about skills training and youth development, and his eyes lit up as he saw teenagers working alongside experienced craftsmen, learning trades that would provide them with lifelong careers. Marcus Thompson, 19 years old and in his second year as an apprentice, was working on a precision component when the royal party approached his workstation. His supervisor, Jim Williams, had been at KLA for 32 years and had trained dozens of apprentices during his career. The partnership between experience and enthusiasm that William observed represented everything he believed about the importance of passing knowledge from one generation to the next. "What are you working on, Marcus?" William asked, genuinely curious about the intricate piece taking shape under the young man's careful attention. Marcus, initially tongue-tied by the unexpected royal attention, found his voice with Jim's encouraging nod. "It's a component for wind turbine systems, Your Royal Highness. This piece helps transfer power from the rotating blades to the generator. Mr. Williams has been teaching me how to achieve the precise tolerances required for this kind of work." William examined the component with the careful attention of someone who understood the importance of precision engineering. His military background had given him appreciation for the skilled work required to create reliable, high-performance equipment. "The precision is remarkable, Marcus. How long have you been learning this particular technique?" "About 6 months, sir. It's challenging work, but I love knowing that what I'm making will help generate clean energy for thousands of homes." Marcus's pride in his work was evident, and William could see the same dedication that had made British craftsmanship respected worldwide. Jim Williams spoke up, his voice carrying the authority of decades of experience. "Marcus represents the best of our apprenticeship program, Your Royal Highness. These young people come to us eager to learn, and we give them the skills they need to build careers that will support their families and serve their communities. It's work that matters." As they moved through the apprenticeship area, William stopped to speak with several other trainees. Each conversation revealed the same themes: young people finding purpose in skilled work, experienced mentors passing on knowledge, and a company culture that valued both tradition and innovation. The diversity among the apprentices was particularly striking, with young men and women from various backgrounds all working toward the same goal of mastering their trades. The tour continued into the main production area, where the scale and sophistication of modern manufacturing became apparent. Massive machines shaped metal with computer-controlled precision, while skilled operators monitored every aspect of the process. The noise level required ear protection, but even with the industrial clamor, William could sense the rhythm and purpose that drove the operation. At one station, they met Jennifer Davies, a quality control specialist whose job involved ensuring that every component met the exacting standards required by KLA's aerospace customers. Her work required not just technical knowledge, but also the kind of attention to detail that could mean the difference between success and failure in critical applications. "Quality is everything in this business, Your Royal Highness," Jennifer explained as she demonstrated her inspection techniques. "When our components become part of an aircraft engine or a medical device, there's no room for error. Every measurement must be perfect, every surface finish must meet specification, and every piece must be traceable back to its source materials." William watched as Jennifer used sophisticated measuring equipment to verify dimensions accurate to thousandths of an inch. Her movements were practiced and confident, the result of years of training and experience. "The level of precision is extraordinary, Jennifer. How do you maintain such high standards across such a large production volume?" "It starts with our people, sir. Everyone here understands that quality is their responsibility, not just mine. We train constantly, we share knowledge, and we never accept good enough when we can achieve perfect. It's a culture that starts at the top and extends to every person on the floor. The conversation was interrupted by a gentle alarm that signaled the end of a production run. William watched as the team smoothly transitioned to preparing for the next batch, their movements coordinated and efficient. The seamless flow of activity spoke to years of practice and the kind of teamwork that made complex manufacturing possible. As they moved toward the research and development section, David Matthews explained KLA's commitment to innovation. We invest heavily in new technologies and processes, Your Royal Highness. Our R&D team works closely with universities and other research institutions to develop the materials and techniques that will drive tomorrow's manufacturing. The research area had a different atmosphere from the production floor. Here, engineers and scientists worked on projects that might not see commercial application for years, but which could revolutionize entire industries. William met Dr. Rachel Chun, a materials scientist who had joined KLA after completing her PhD at Cardiff University. Her work focused on developing new alloy compositions that could perform in extreme environments while remaining environmentally sustainable. The future of manufacturing depends on our ability to create materials that are stronger, lighter, and more sustainable than what we use today, Dr. Chun explained as she showed William samples of experimental alloys. We're working on compositions that could reduce the weight of automotive components by 30% while actually improving their strength and durability. William examined the gleaming metal samples with keen interest. His understanding of engineering principles, developed through his military service and ongoing education, allowed him to appreciate the significance of what Dr. Chun and her team were accomplishing. The implications for fuel efficiency and emissions reduction could be enormous, he observed. How close are you to commercial application? We're about 2 years away from full-scale testing, sir. The challenge isn't just creating the alloy, but developing manufacturing processes that can produce it consistently and economically. That's where our partnership with the production teams becomes crucial. Innovation means nothing if you can't manufacture it reliably. The conversation highlighted one of KLA's greatest strengths, the integration of research and practical manufacturing expertise under one roof. Too often, William had seen brilliant innovations fail because there was no clear path from laboratory to production line. Here, those connections were built into the company's culture and daily operations. As the morning progressed, William's appreciation for KLA's operation continued to grow. Every person he met demonstrated not just technical competence, but also pride in their work and commitment to excellence. From the apprentices learning their trades to the senior engineers pushing the boundaries of material science, everyone seemed united by a common understanding that their work mattered. The tour took them through the environmental systems area, where KLA's commitment to sustainability became evident. Advanced filtration and recycling systems ensure that the manufacturing process minimized waste and environmental impact. William met Thomas Roberts, the environmental compliance manager, whose job involved not just meeting regulatory requirements, but exceeding them whenever possible. Sustainability isn't just about following regulations, Your Royal Highness, Thomas explained as they stood beside a state-of-the-art water treatment system. It's about recognizing that we have a responsibility to future generations. Every process improvement we make, every efficiency gain we achieve, helps ensure that manufacturing can continue to provide good jobs while protecting the environment we all share. The system Thomas showed them was impressive in its sophistication. Water used in the manufacturing process was cleaned and recycled multiple times before being released, meeting standards far stricter than those required by law. Waste heat from the production processes was captured and used to warm office areas, reducing overall energy consumption. Even the metal shavings and offcuts from manufacturing were carefully sorted and recycled, creating additional revenue streams while minimizing waste. As they prepared to move to the next area, William reflected on what he had seen so far. The combination of traditional craftsmanship and modern technology, the integration of experienced workers and eager apprentices, and the commitment to both quality and sustainability created a model of manufacturing that could serve as an example for industries across Britain and beyond. The morning's experiences had already exceeded his expectations, but he sensed that the most meaningful parts of the visit were still ahead. The genuine enthusiasm and pride he had encountered among KLA's workforce spoke to something fundamental about British industry and the people who kept it running. These were individuals who had found purpose and meaning in their work, who understood that their efforts contributed to their community's prosperity and their nation's economic strength. As they walked toward the next section of the facility, William could hear the sounds of production continuing around them. The rhythmic operations that never stopped during his visit served as a reminder that this was not a show put on for royal benefit, but a glimpse into the daily reality of modern British manufacturing. The people he had met were not performing for cameras or trying to impress a visitor. They were simply doing what they did every day with the same pride and professionalism that had made their facility successful. The conversation with Dr. Chun had particularly resonated with him. The idea that innovations developed here in Newport could eventually reduce emissions and improve efficiency across entire industries spoke to the global significance of local expertise. It reminded him that Britain's future competitiveness would depend not just on financial services or digital technology, but on the continued excellence of its manufacturing base and the skilled people who made it possible. As the first part of his visit drew to a close, William found himself looking forward to the deeper conversations and more detailed demonstrations that would fill the rest of his day at KLA. The initial impressions had been overwhelmingly positive, but he sensed there were more stories to discover and more insights to gain from his time with this remarkable workforce. Hashtag Prince William's Newport visit. Part 2, the midday sun had broken through the morning clouds as Prince William's tour of KLA continued into the heart of the facility's operations. The industrial complex seemed to come alive around him, with the steady rhythm of production creating an atmosphere of purposeful energy that spoke to decades of manufacturing excellence. His morning conversations with apprentices and researchers had provided an excellent foundation, but now he was about to experience the full scope of what made this Welsh facility so remarkable. Sarah Jenkins led the royal party toward the aerospace division, where some of KLA's most demanding and sophisticated work took place. The security requirements for this section were immediately apparent, with additional checkpoints and restricted access areas that highlighted the sensitive nature of the projects underway. William's military background made him particularly interested in this aspect of the operation, understanding the critical role that precision manufacturing played in national defense and aerospace applications. Your Royal Highness, this is where we produce components for some of the most advanced aircraft in the world, Sarah explained as they approached a climate-controlled manufacturing area. The tolerances required for aerospace work are incredibly demanding, often measured in microns rather than millimeters. Our team here represents some of the most skilled metalworkers and precision engineers in Europe. The aerospace production area was noticeably different from the sections William had visited earlier. The lighting was brighter, the air filtration systems more sophisticated, and every surface gleamed with the kind of cleanliness required for precision work. Employees wore specialized protective clothing, and the equipment represented the cutting edge of manufacturing technology. The atmosphere was one of focused concentration, where even the smallest details mattered enormously. At the first workstation, they met Robert Patel, a senior aerospace machinist who had been with KLA for 23 years. His current project involved creating titanium components for next-generation jet engines, work that required not just technical skill, but also an almost artistic understanding of how metals behaved under extreme conditions. The piece he was working on would eventually become part of an engine capable of powering aircraft at speeds approaching twice the speed of sound. This component will experience temperatures over 1,500 degrees Celsius and rotational forces that would tear apart ordinary materials, Robert explained as he showed William the intricate piece taking shape in his machine. Every cut must be perfect every angle precisely calculated. There's no room for approximation in this kind of work. William examined the component with fascination, noting the complex geometry and mirror-like surface finish that Robert had achieved. His understanding of aviation, developed through his own pilot training and military service, gave him deep appreciation for the engineering challenges involved. The precision is extraordinary, Robert. How do you maintain such accuracy when working with materials this challenging? It's a combination of experience, the right equipment, and constant attention to detail, sir. I've been working with titanium for over 15 years, and I'm still learning new techniques. The metal has its own personality, and you have to understand how it wants to be shaped. Push too hard or too fast, and it fights back. Work with it properly, and you can achieve results that seem almost impossible. The conversation revealed something William had noticed throughout his visit: the deep personal investment that KLA employees had in their work. This wasn't just about earning wages or following procedures. It was about craftsmanship and professional pride that connected each individual to something larger than themselves. Robert's relationship with his materials and machines represented a tradition of skilled work that stretched back generations while embracing the most modern technology available. Moving deeper into the aerospace section, they encountered a team working on components for commercial satellite systems. The lead engineer, Catherine Williams, had joined KLA after completing advanced studies in materials science and aerospace engineering. Her team was responsible for creating lightweight structural components that could survive the harsh environment of space while meeting strict weight limitations that made orbital missions economically viable. Space applications present unique challenges, Your Royal Highness, Catherine explained as she showed William examples of their satellite components. Not only must our parts function perfectly in vacuum conditions and extreme temperature variations, but they also have to be manufactured to standards that eliminate any possibility of failure. When something goes wrong in space, you can't simply pull over and fix it. The satellite components were remarkable in their complexity and precision. William could see how multiple materials have been joined together to create structures that were both incredibly strong and surprisingly lightweight. The engineering solutions represented years of development and testing, with each design iteration bringing improvements in performance and reliability. How do you test these components before they're launched? William asked, genuinely curious about the validation process for such critical applications. We have extensive testing facilities that simulate space conditions, including thermal cycling, vibration testing, and vacuum chambers that replicate the environment the components will face in orbit. Every piece is tested beyond its design limits to ensure it will perform flawlessly when it matters most. We also work closely with the satellite manufacturers to understand exactly how our components will be integrated into their systems. The dedication to testing and validation that Catherine described reflected a culture of excellence that William had observed throughout his visit. At every level, from apprentice training to advanced research, KLA demonstrated an unwillingness to accept anything less than the highest standards. This commitment to quality had clearly been instrumental in building the company's reputation with demanding customers in aerospace and other critical industries. As they moved toward the automotive section, William reflected on the transformation he was witnessing in British manufacturing. The traditional image of industrial work as purely manual labor was being replaced by a reality that combined physical skill with sophisticated technology and deep technical knowledge. The workers he met were as comfortable with computer controls as they were with traditional tools, representing a new generation of skilled professionals who bridged the gap between craft traditions and modern innovation. The automotive division presented yet another face of KLA's capabilities. Here, the focus was on high-volume production of components for electric vehicles, hybrid systems, and advanced internal combustion engines. The pace was noticeably faster than in the aerospace areas, but the attention to quality remained just as intense. William met production supervisor Amanda Foster, whose team manufactured lightweight chassis components that helped improve fuel efficiency across multiple vehicle platforms. The automotive industry is undergoing the biggest transformation in over a century, Your Royal Highness, Amanda explained as they walked past production lines running at full capacity. Electric vehicles, autonomous systems, and new materials are changing everything about how cars are designed and built. Our role is to provide the components that make these advances possible while maintaining the reliability and safety standards that people expect. William watched as automated systems worked alongside human operators to produce components with remarkable speed and consistency. The integration of robotics and human expertise created a production environment that was both highly efficient and adaptable to changing requirements. Workers monitored multiple processes simultaneously, making adjustments and quality checks that ensured every component met specifications. At one station, he met Derek Jones, a production technician whose job involved programming and maintaining the robotic systems that handled much of the heavy lifting and repetitive work. Derek had started at KLA as a traditional machinist, but had embraced the opportunity to learn new technologies as they were introduced. His evolution from manual operator to automation specialist represented the kind of adaptability that modern manufacturing required. The robots handle the heavy work and repetitive operations, but human judgment is still essential for quality control and problem solving. Derek explained as he demonstrated how he programmed a robotic arm to perform a complex assembly operation. Technology has made us more productive and reduced the physical demands of the work, but it hasn't replaced the need for skilled people who understand the process and can make intelligent decisions. The collaboration between human expertise and automated systems that William observed challenge common assumptions about the impact of technology on employment. Rather than simply replacing workers, the advanced manufacturing systems at KLA had created opportunities for employees to develop new skills and take on more responsible roles. The result was a workforce that was more capable and more valuable than ever before. During lunch, William had the opportunity to meet informally with employees from across the facility. The company cafeteria had been transformed for the occasion, but the conversations were genuine and unscripted. Workers shared stories about their careers, their families, and their hopes for the future. The common threads were pride in their work, loyalty to their community, and optimism about the opportunities that modern manufacturing could provide. One particularly memorable conversation was with Helen Murphy, a single mother of two who had joined KLA as an apprentice after losing her previous job in retail. The company's supportive approach to training and flexible scheduling had allowed her to build a career that provided both financial security and personal satisfaction. Her story illustrated how manufacturing could offer pathways to prosperity for people willing to invest in developing their skills. When I first started here, I was intimidated by all the technology and worried that I wouldn't be able to learn what I needed to know, Helen told William during their conversation. But the support system here is incredible. My supervisor and coworkers help me every step of the way, and now I'm training new apprentices myself. It's given me confidence I never thought I'd have. William was struck by the genuine warmth and mutual respect evident among the KLA workforce. Colleagues from different departments and levels of experience interacted as equals, sharing knowledge and supporting each other's development. The sense of community extended beyond the workplace, with many employees mentioning company-sponsored activities, charitable initiatives, and support for local schools and organizations. The afternoon portion of his visit focused on KLA's research partnerships with universities and other institutions. William met Professor James Mitchell from Cardiff University, who had been collaborating with KLA on advanced materials research for over a decade. Their joint projects had produced innovations that benefited both academic understanding and practical manufacturing applications, demonstrating how industry and education could work together effectively. Our partnership with KLA has been transformational for our research program, Your Royal Highness, Professor Mitchell explained as they toured the on-site research laboratory. Having access to real manufacturing challenges and industrial-scale testing capabilities allows our students and faculty to pursue projects that have immediate practical relevance while advancing fundamental scientific knowledge. The research laboratory showcased projects that range from basic materials science to applied engineering solutions. Graduate students worked alongside KLA engineers on problems that could influence the next generation of manufacturing processes. William met several PhD candidates whose research was directly funded by the company, creating a pipeline of talent that benefited both the university and the industry. One particularly impressive project involved developing new recycling techniques for advanced materials. Dr. Lisa Thompson, a postdoctoral researcher, was working on processes that could recover and reuse titanium and other expensive metals for manufacturing waste and end-of-life products. Her work had the potential to significantly reduce both costs and environmental impact across the aerospace and automotive industries. Sustainability is becoming just as important as performance in advanced manufacturing. Dr. Thompson explained as she showed William examples of recycled materials that matched the properties of virgin metals. Our research aims to create closed-loop systems where materials can be used, recycled, and reused indefinitely without degradation in quality or performance. The sustainability focus that William observed throughout the research area reflected broader changes in industrial thinking. Companies like KLA were beginning to understand that long-term success required not just technical excellence, but also environmental responsibility. The integration of sustainability considerations into fundamental research and development processes suggested that future manufacturing would be both more capable and more environmentally conscious. As the afternoon progressed, William's appreciation for the complexity and sophistication of modern manufacturing continued to deepen. Every conversation revealed new layers of technical challenge and human expertise. The workers he met were not just following procedures, but actively contributing to continuous improvement and innovation. Their suggestions and insights drove improvements in processes, quality, and efficiency that kept KLA competitive in global markets. The visit to the Quality Assurance Laboratory provided another perspective on the commitment to excellence that characterized KLA's operations. Here, every batch of materials was tested before use, and every finished component was verified before shipment. The testing equipment represented millions of pounds of investment in ensuring that customer requirements were not just met, but exceeded. William met quality manager Patricia Lewis, whose team was responsible for maintaining the certifications and standards required by KLA's diverse customer base. Each industry served by the company had its own requirements and expectations, creating a complex web of specifications that had to be managed simultaneously. Patricia's expertise in navigating these requirements while maintaining efficient production was clearly crucial to the company's success. Quality isn't just about meeting specifications, Your Royal Highness, Patricia explained as she demonstrated testing procedures that could detect flaws invisible to the human eye. It's about building trust with our customers and confidence in our products. When an aircraft manufacturer or automotive company chooses our components, they're trusting us with their reputation and their customers' safety. The testing procedures William observed were exhaustive and sophisticated. X-ray systems could reveal internal flaws in castings. Coordinate measuring machines could verify dimensions to tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch, and materials testing equipment could determine mechanical properties with laboratory-grade precision. The investment in quality assurance reflected both regulatory requirements and the company's own standards for excellence. As his time in the research and quality areas concluded, William found himself impressed not just by the technical capabilities he had witnessed, but by the culture of continuous learning and improvement that permeated every aspect of KLA's operations. From apprentices eager to master new skills to senior researchers pushing the boundaries of materials science, everyone seemed committed to doing better today than they had done yesterday. The integration of traditional craftsmanship with cutting-edge technology, the collaboration between industry and academia, and the focus on both performance and sustainability created a model of manufacturing that seemed well-positioned for future challenges. The people he had met were not just preserving British industrial traditions, but actively reinventing them for a new era. As they prepared for the final portion of his visit, William reflected on the remarkable day he was experiencing. Every conversation had revealed new insights into the complexity and importance of modern manufacturing. The dedication and expertise of KLA's workforce had exceeded his expectations, and their stories had provided a deeply human perspective on the industrial transformation taking place across Britain. Hashtag Prince William's Newport visit. Part 3. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the KLA facility as Prince William prepared for what would prove to be the most personally meaningful portion of his visit. The technical tours and formal presentations had provided excellent insights into the company's capabilities and achievements, but now he was about to experience something that would resonate far beyond industrial processes and manufacturing excellence. The next phase would focus on the human stories behind the success, the individual journeys that had brought people to this Welsh facility, and the ways that KLA had become not just an employer, but a cornerstone of the community. David Matthews led William toward a conference room that had been prepared for a series of more intimate conversations with employees from across the facility. Unlike the structured presentations of the morning, these discussions would be informal and personal, allowing the prince to hear directly from workers about their experiences, challenges, and aspirations. The room had been arranged with comfortable seating in a circle, creating an atmosphere more suited to conversation than presentation. The first person William met was Alan Davies, a maintenance supervisor who had been with KLA for 38 years. His weathered hands and confident demeanor spoke of decades spent keeping complex machinery running smoothly, but his story revealed much more than technical expertise. Alan had started as an apprentice straight from school, learning his trade from men who had worked in heavy industry their entire lives. He had witnessed the transformation of manufacturing from an era of purely manual processes to today's computer-controlled precision operations. When I started here in 1987, Your Royal Highness, this place was very different, Alan began, his Welsh accent carrying the warmth and musicality that made his stories immediately engaging. We had machines that were older than some of the apprentices, and everything was done by feel and experience. Don't get me wrong, we produce good work, but nothing like what we can achieve today. William leaned forward, genuinely interested in hearing about the evolution Alan had witnessed. What would you say has been the biggest change during your time here? It's not just the technology, sir, though that's been remarkable. It's the way we think about our work. In the old days, you learned one job and did it for 30 years. Now, we're constantly learning new skills, working with different materials, solving problems we'd never encountered before. The company has invested in training us to adapt, and that's made all the difference. Alan's story exemplified something William had noticed throughout his visit, the way KLA had managed to honor traditional craftsmanship while embracing innovation. Rather than viewing change as a threat to established ways of working, the company had helped its workforce see adaptation as an opportunity for growth and development. The result was a team that combined deep experience with contemporary skills. The conversation continued with insights about how the workplace culture had evolved over the decades. Alan described how safety practices had improved dramatically, how environmental awareness had become central to daily operations, and how employee input had become increasingly valued in decision-making processes. His perspective provided a historical context that helped William understand how KLA had achieved its current level of excellence. The young people coming in today are incredibly bright and eager to learn, Alan continued. But they still need the wisdom that comes from experience. The apprenticeship program works because it brings together enthusiasm and knowledge. I've trained dozens of apprentices over the years, and seeing them succeed has been one of the most rewarding aspects of my career. The next conversation was with Maria Santos, a quality control inspector who had immigrated to Wales from Portugal 12 years earlier. Her journey to KLA illustrated how the facility had become a destination for talent from across Europe, creating a diverse workforce that brought different perspectives and skills to the company's operations. Maria's story also highlighted the challenges and opportunities faced by workers seeking to build new lives in unfamiliar places. When I first arrived in Newport, I spoke very little English and had no experience in manufacturing. Maria told William, her accent still carrying traces of her Portuguese heritage, but her confidence clearly developed through years of success in her adopted home. KLA gave me an opportunity when other employers wouldn't even consider my application. They provided language training, technical education, and, most importantly, colleagues who were willing to help me succeed. William was struck by the genuine warmth in Maria's voice as she described her integration into both the company and the broader community. Her experience demonstrated how manufacturing facilities like KLA could serve as engines of social mobility, providing pathways to prosperity for people willing to work hard and learn new skills, regardless of their backgrounds or origins. What I love most about working here is the precision required in quality control, Maria continued. Every component must meet exact specifications, and I take pride in ensuring that happens. When I sign off on a batch of parts, I know that my work contributes to aircraft flying safely, cars running efficiently, and satellites functioning properly in space. That responsibility is both challenging and deeply satisfying. The technical aspects of Maria's work were impressive, but William was equally interested in her perspective on workplace culture and community integration. She described how KLA employees had helped her family navigate school systems, healthcare services, and local customs. The support had extended far beyond the workplace, creating bonds that had made Newport feel like home. The third conversation of the session was with James Wilson, a recent engineering graduate who had joined KLA's management trainee program 6 months earlier. His fresh perspective and enthusiasm for the challenges ahead provided insights into how the next generation of manufacturing leaders was being developed. James had studied mechanical engineering at Swansea University, but had specifically chosen KLA for his career start because of the company's reputation for innovation and employee development. What attracted me to KLA was the combination of traditional manufacturing excellence and cutting-edge technology. James explained, his excitement about his career clearly evident. During my university placement here, I saw how the company values both technical competence and creative problem-solving. It's an environment where young engineers can make real contributions while learning from people with decades of experience. William asked about the challenges facing young people entering manufacturing careers, and James provided thoughtful insights about changing perceptions and evolving skill requirements. The conversation revealed how companies like KLA were working to attract the brightest young talent while competing with technology firms and financial services companies that often offered higher starting salaries. Manufacturing has an image problem with some young people, sir. They think it's all about dirty, dangerous work with no intellectual challenge. But the reality is completely different. The problems we solve here require creativity, technical knowledge, and complex thinking. We're designing and building components that push the boundaries of what's possible with materials and engineering. James's perspective highlighted the importance of education and outreach in building the future workforce that British manufacturing would need to remain competitive. His enthusiasm for the technical challenges and career opportunities available in manufacturing suggested that the right messaging and programs could attract many more young people to these fields. The session continued with Sarah Mitchell, a single mother who had returned to work after several years, focused on raising her children. KLA's flexible scheduling and supportive management had made it possible for her to rebuild her career while maintaining her family responsibilities. Her story illustrated how modern manufacturing companies were adapting their practices to accommodate the diverse needs of contemporary workers. Coming back to work after 8 years was intimidating, Your Royal Highness, Sarah admitted. Technology had advanced, workplace practices had changed, and I worried that my skills would be obsolete. But KLA provided retraining programs and mentorship that helped me not just catch up, but actually advance beyond where I had been before I left. William was particularly interested in how companies could better support workers managing family responsibilities. Sarah's experience suggested that flexibility and understanding could actually enhance productivity and loyalty, creating benefits for both employees and employers. Her current role in production planning required analytical skills and attention to detail that had been strengthened by her experience managing a household and children's activities. The conversation with Sarah also touched on the broader economic impact of providing opportunities for people to return to meaningful work. Her success had enabled her family to achieve greater financial stability, contribute to the local economy, and build toward a secure future. The ripple effects extended far beyond her individual circumstances. As the afternoon progressed, William met with several more employees whose stories added additional dimensions to his understanding of KLA's role in the community. There was Robert Shun, a materials scientist who had left a research position at a major university to pursue applied research in an industrial setting. His decision reflected the growing opportunities for advanced technical work in manufacturing environments. Elizabeth Morgan had started as a temporary administrative assistant and worked her way up to become a project coordinator managing complex customer relationships. Her advancement illustrated how KLA provided pathways for career growth that weren't dependent solely on formal education, but recognized initiative, competence, and dedication wherever they appeared. Peter Williams had joined the company after military service, finding that the teamwork, precision, and attention to detail required in manufacturing aligned well with his military training. His transition from armed forces to civilian employment had been smoother because of KLA's understanding of how to integrate veterans into their workforce. Each conversation revealed common themes about what made KLA special as an employer and community member. The company's investment in training and development was mentioned repeatedly, but so was the culture of mutual respect and support among colleagues. Workers consistently described feeling valued not just for their labor, but for their ideas, insights, and contributions to continuous improvement. The diversity of backgrounds and experiences among the workforce was striking. William met employees who had come from careers in retail, healthcare, education, and military service. Some had university degrees, while others had learned their skills through apprenticeships and on-the-job training. What united them was a shared commitment to excellence and a pride in their contribution to both the company's success and the broader community's prosperity. As the formal conversations concluded, William was invited to visit the employee break areas and observe the informal interactions that revealed much about workplace culture. The atmosphere was relaxed and friendly, with colleagues from different departments and levels of seniority mixing freely. Conversations ranged from work-related topics to family news, sports, and community events. In the main cafeteria, William noticed bulletin boards covered with announcements about company-sponsored activities, charitable initiatives, and employee achievements. KLA clearly functioned as more than just a workplace. It was a focal point for community engagement and social connection. The company sponsored local sports teams, supported educational programs, and participated in charitable activities that strengthened its ties to Newport and the surrounding region. During his time in the break areas, William also observed the mentorship relationships that had been mentioned throughout his visit. Experienced workers naturally included newer employees in their conversations, sharing knowledge and offering guidance that went well beyond formal training programs. The transmission of expertise happened organically, creating a learning environment that enhanced both individual development and organizational capability. The physical environment of the facility also told important stories about company values and priorities. Safety equipment was everywhere, well-maintained, and obviously used regularly. Environmental monitoring systems provided real-time data about air quality and energy consumption. Employee suggestion boxes were strategically located and clearly used, with posted responses showing how worker input influenced operational improvements. As the day moved toward its conclusion, William reflected on the remarkable consistency between what he had observed throughout his visit. The technical excellence, commitment to quality, investment in people, and community engagement all reinforced each other to create an organizational culture that seemed genuinely sustainable and successful. KLA had clearly found ways to balance multiple objectives: profitability and social responsibility, efficiency and quality, tradition and innovation. The personal stories he had heard during the afternoon conversations had provided the human context that made the technical achievements more meaningful. Behind every precision component and innovative process were individuals who had invested their careers in mastering their crafts and building something larger than themselves. Their pride in their work was evident, but so was their understanding of how their efforts contributed to broader purposes. The connections between KLA and the local community had also become clearer through these conversations. Many employees were second- or third-generation workers whose families had deep roots in Newport. Others had come from elsewhere, but had put down roots and become integral parts of the community fabric. The company served as an economic anchor that supported not just its direct employees, but also suppliers, contractors, and service providers throughout the region. As William prepared for the final portion of his visit, he carried with him a deepened appreciation for the complexity and importance of modern manufacturing. The day had provided insights that went far beyond industrial processes to encompass questions of economic development, social mobility, community resilience, and national competitiveness. The people he had met embodied the best qualities of British industry: technical excellence, innovative thinking, commitment to quality, and pride in craftsmanship. The stories shared during the afternoon had also highlighted the evolving nature of manufacturing work and the opportunities it could provide for people willing to embrace lifelong learning and adaptation. From apprentices beginning their careers to experienced workers mastering new technologies, everyone seemed engaged in continuous development that kept both individual capabilities and organizational performance at high levels.